Alright folks, welcome back. I think I'll show you my R7 showing the desktop wallpaper on my 55-inch QOLED TV from Samsung, the S95B. No puppies, so that bed is gone. We sometimes talk about the ZVE10 with the HDMI port failing, but for a vlogging camera and the lenses that go with it, you can't beat it. And if you notice, I have the Saramonic mic, shotgun mic, pointing backwards. And then I also have a red microphone cable from another manufacturer, a Rode in fact, kind of like set the colors from black and red. I have a ZDO metal tripod, no ball head on it, so it lays flat, but it's very light. It's all aluminum, very sturdy, and it really keeps the camera cool. I found that out on the Z30. But here I am talking to you, and what I'm going to talk about is the settings in the camera for the colors. So I have autofocus full time. I love it. It's better than the other autofocuses I like with Nikon. I have it on people, large. I've adjusted the saturation, the brightness, the temperature, the tint, the gamma, all using eCam. I'm not using a LUT. I'm just using the auto white balance on the camera, and also I guess the auto on the picture profile. So there's no picture profile. What you see is what you get. And I'm more of a guy that not into bokeh that much. I like the depth of field to show, but I do like to have a little blurriness in the background, not faded completely, but kind of show off the things, but the subject should be the main focal point. So if I go into my other camera, which is over here. Now, I have an M1 Max Studio, the base model. I have 5 cameras hooked up to this system right now. The only difference between this camera and this camera, they're both ZFCs, but my left side has the VR on. So it gives an extra crop to the camera. And the other one I'm going to suggest is we're going to talk about a camera that I like. I think it's an excellent camera, but there's one flaw with it. It overheats a little bit, especially when I have the HDMI cable connected to it. So on all my cameras, I have a dummy battery. This camera, I just plug it into the USB-C to keep it charged because I'm doing a video. And what I'm going to show you is from this camera right here, which I'm going to unplug. I am going to plug it into the Z30. And I want you to look at the sharpness between this camera right here with the VR on, which gives an extra crop. I mean, I could zoom it all the way. That's good. If I go to the other camera, I can zoom that all the way. But you notice it doesn't take the whole screen. VR off, VR on. And I'm going to go right back to 0. Okay, there we go. So you notice it stutters a little bit. I don't know if it's because of the HDMI or I'm overloading the system with 5 cameras, but I'm going to take it off of this one and I'm going to put it on the Z30, which is right in front of it. And I think you can see, well, maybe not. You can see the cable right here. So let's do it. Okay, so here's the Z30. Looks pretty good, right? And the color settings are the same, just about. I think I like the colors a little bit better on this one. It gives me more of a darker tint. So the camera settings are all pretty good. What I do notice, oh, that's why. So this is the Z30. How do I look? If I zoom it all the way, I tap on here. Okay, now I'm in focus. So my focus is, I think, tap right now. I'm at 1/60th of the shutter speed, and I'm at f1.4, 4K 30 at 400 ISO. How do I look? I look pretty good. This camera overheats when using the HDMI cable. Nikon cameras, if you don't utilize them for a while, they'll go to sleep. Sometimes they overheat, sometimes they don't. But usually just by hitting the shutter button, they come out live. And that's what I like. Some cameras, you have to turn them off if they overheat and let them cool down. So this is a great camera. I like it. I just have problems at 35 minutes because it overheats. So I used to put this camera on the dashboard of the car, go driving around, show off the deer, show off different parts of the city, and also test the judderness or any stuttering or any, you know, the sound quality, stuff like that. I did not get the kit with this where it has the rabbit hair or the cat hair or the tripod. I just stuck it on, I have 2 different desktop tripods. One is Manfrotto and the other one is the Z30, which is all metal. The Manfrotto has a ball head, so I have it pointing down toward me. Now, the neat thing about this camera, and I can do it to any Nikon camera, is I have a Megadapt adapter, the ETZ11. It autofocuses. Now I had a Tech Art adapter, and I can't remember the name, but the thing was, it only worked on full frame cameras, but it didn't autofocus. The newer one does. This adapter does, but they have a newer version also. I think the 21 version, which has a faster focusing. So what am I saying this? I am not using a Nikon lens. I'm using a Sony lens, an APS-C Sony E-mount lens on this camera. I look pretty good, a little sharp. And I'm going to move this right back here. Okay, I just want to make sure it stays sharp. So I can zoom. In fact, I am zoom. This is a 16mm lens, and it's only about a foot away. Yeah, foot and a half a yard. The ZFC, if I go back here, I'm about 4 feet away, but it has a 28 millimeter. So go back to here. You'll think, oh, that's a Sony camera. Nope. And if I do a reset, this is what I actually look like. So I would have to do the gamma, maybe, or leave it at 0. Saturation is what I usually do. So a little saturation, maybe a little gamma for a little depth of field. And then the tint. And you can put it on the temperature a little bit. You know, cool. And then of course the brightness. So I look better. And this is using Ecamm and on the auto settings. So I look pretty good. 16 millimeter. If I zoom it out, this is what I should look like. Look how everything is sharp. And this is at f1.4. This camera, and if I bring it down all the way to 0, up, there we go. Okay. It's a 28 millimeter. So there's a big difference between 16 millimeter, which is this one, and a 28 millimeter. So 16 millimeter, you get more background in the shot. You get pretty good on that one. So anyway, but remember how I said that when you change cameras, you get a little stuttering? I get no stuttering with the Z30. On the ZFC, you get a little stuttering. And I don't know if that's with the newer type of camera or whatever. They have the same focusing system. The Z30 feels like a Z50, and I got that too. So if I go to camera 3, that's a Z50. But you notice you see a lot of noise. So this is the first generation of the Z or the Z cameras for APS-C or the DX style that came out. This right here is my Canon R7. This is a Sony a6100, the first mirrorless camera that I bought. Now I've had some point and shoot cameras, but when I'm talking about mirrorless camera, it's the ones where I can change out the lenses. So I can use different lenses, full frame and APS-C. I have a full set of them. I also have a Sony a7C. And they're great cameras. So ZV-E10 is what you're looking at. This is the third Sony camera I have. I have a Sony RX100 Mark V. It's great point and shoot. I'm debating if I should get the Mark 7 or the ZV-1 back. I gave away the ZV-1 because I thought it was too small. And anyway, I like the touchscreen capability of the new cameras. Nikon had that. I don't like with the A7C where you're always scrolling the menu with the wheel dial. So anyway, getting back to here. I've been recording for almost 15 minutes. How do I look? Looks pretty sharp. And if I scroll all the way, move this up, how do I look? So I plan to use this for live streaming, this camera. And what I'm going to test out is two things. I can plug in a dummy battery here, and that way I don't have to keep charging my regular battery for the camera, and it will look awesome. It's nice and cool in this room, so for 15 minutes it's been acting great. I like the option of using different lenses, different looks, and it has a lot of capabilities, this camera. I bought it for streaming, but then it started overheating, and now since it's winter time, it's working good. But if I keep recording for 35 minutes, it'll probably overheat and shut down. So that's the one thing. Nikon will say the same thing on the full frame cameras, Z6 II, Z7 II, even the Z5 now and then. But this room is pretty cool. And if I look at the temperature, why, it's only 18.7 degrees Celsius. About 69 degrees. So, feels great in here. I've got a nice sweatshirt on, comfortable. Just doing a vlog of cameras. And it was brought up that, hey, there's nothing wrong with the Z30. I agree. But in some cases, it overheats. Direct sunlight, it will overheat. Any camera will do that. It will fail eventually. But I've noticed that usually around the 35-minute mark, it will start overheating. What I like about the Canon R7 and R10 that I own, they gave a heat warning before it goes out. And they did overheat too. I do things to the max. Computers, overclock, you name it. I've done it all. And crash many times. But you want something that when you buy, they'll last. So with the ZVE10, which I think the focusing and colors, they got it right. You can touch the screen, move things around, which I like. But the HDMI port failed after 3 days. And I didn't do anything. I just had it hooked up because I was going to use it in the video studio. And I was going to use my ZFC as remote camera, where I like carrying around, taking pictures and stuff. Do a little street photography. Well, when the ZVE10 failed, I got me the Z30. And then it started overheating. So then I unplugged both of them, and I just use them for vlogging purposes. This winter time, I'm going to try it a couple of times for my video recording, and then we'll see if it overheats. That way I can say, you see, it overheated. So anyhow, this is just a quick video of the studio, of what I'm doing, of the different cameras that I own. Let me go back here. So, this is the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens. Great lens, folks. You can't beat it. I think it's the right distance. I can put it right where the ZFC is, but that's closer to the window, and I worry about the heat, because it's warmer always on the outside window than it is, or I should say the outside wall, than it is inside the room. But let me do that just to try it out, see what happens. So I'm moving this camera back. I'm hoping the cable will, yeah. it should. Trying to move it as back as possible. I got the USB-C cable plugged in. Okay. That a little bit better? So this is about almost the same distance as the ZFC in the back. When I plug in the dummy battery, I'll have plenty of room. So how do I look? I look pretty good, right? Okay, let me try that then. So I'm going to go over here. You can see my mic right here. It's a Insignia. It's the NSCBM19. It's a good mic. The only problem is I have to unplug it, plug it back in for it to be recognized. And that's one thing about USB-Cs. So I can put it down here. My volume's still good. And then I just move the mic a little bit. Put it down. And I can hide it. And I sound pretty good. Anyway, let me change out the battery on this camera. And unplug the USB-C. Turn this one off. Take out the battery. So I'm taking out the battery, the dummy battery that is, on both cameras. Now I gotta open this one up. There we go. Put this one in. Turn it on. All right. Go back to here. How do I look? Look pretty good. And I'll go like this. Try not to make it fall, Randy. Yeah, I gotta put on another joystick. I'll just put it right there. And move the camera this way. Look pretty good, right? So this is the Z30 with the Sigma 16mm f1.4. 1/60 of the shutter speed. You think it would be a Sony camera, but it's a Z30. So it focuses pretty well with this 16mm. I got the 30mm and the Sigma 56mm, which I love. It gives you kind of like an 84mm equivalent or an 85mm equivalent on the lens. This one right here will give you a 24. So this is a 24 compared to a 28 full frame that I have on here. But on this 28, it's kind of like a 42. And then of course I can go like this. So it's a little bit darker. It's all because of the lighting. I can turn on the light and everything will be nice. You won't see any noise. But I like the subtle color, or the less light gives you a little bit more dynamic range. So I like that. And this is the ZFC. I got a battery in it. This is the let me get it in. Oh, you gotta get it on the right camera, Randy. All right, so there's the video tripod. It's all metal, aluminum. I love this camera, but it's hard to hold, right? I can hold it. It's very light. I like it. But what I like doing, and camera straps, I'm not usually into camera straps. I like carrying my camera case, and I just take out a case and then hold it like that. But the neat thing, let me get this, is small rig. It's made an adapter that you can put at the bottom of your camera to give it a grip so you can hold it better. I sent 2 to the Grays of Westminster, and they love it. I haven't seen them on their ZFCs lately, but I just attached this. And now I can carry my camera, hold it different positions, take a picture, and it has room to mount it on a tripod or desktop, whatever. And turn it on. Put out the flippy screen. See? Love this camera. Love taking it around anywhere. I like the weight. I like the dials. I'm used to the camera. I think it's a great camera. Put it back. So if I change it to the Z30, okay. Now I'm in focus. Now remember, I was telling you that it stutters when I first changed the camera. So it's in focus. So it's a low breathing with the Sony, well, I should say the Sigma lens. But it's still good. And this is a 16mm. And just to see if it, what I'm also trying to do is see if it throws it up. So you can see the little box. I'm trying to get myself, so there's a TV. Where is it? Let me get it close to the LCD screen. Yeah, you see? Can't get in focus, might be too close. And, oh well. Just playing around with the studio, talking, ranting. So, if I look, I've been recording 28 minutes. I'm getting to the 35-minute mark. I guess what I can do is start showing you some stuff like if I go to my camera for the TV, we can do a little browsing on the internet, and what I'll type in is Nikon Z30. Yeah, I just put 30. Okay. So you can see different things. You can see comparison. And I like doing this. So the ZFC on the right, Z30. So the ZFC, they say have a BSI CMOS sensor. I don't think so. So some of these sites could be wrong. Okay. I'm going to shut off that ad. And I'm going to just scroll down. So 2 entry-level cameras. They're showing a history right here. Z9 is the ultimate one. But I have the Z6 II, Z7 II. They don't talk about the Z50 much anymore. So here's the specs. And I see this says backside illuminated. I don't think so on the ZFC. It's just a CMOS sensor. But they're basically the same thing. And they say the weather sealed body. I disagree on that too. So not everyone is correct. Now, they say you can record clips longer than 30 minutes. No, not on the ZFC. If you have it through the HDMI port, yes. But if you're recording internally, no. 30 frames per second. Yeah. But don't go with that either, because I got 1/60th of shutter speed right now. It is 4K 30. Doesn't have a viewfinder. But if you can see, everything is just about the same, except that the ZFC has a viewfinder. Z30 doesn't. So they have video reduction, which is probably because of the lens. They have some stabilization, but not that much, not like a true IBIS. And here's a good pictures. Shows you in grams, shows you the different, looking at it, the different things, the weights, thickness comparison. Now, I don't know about that. So basically they got most of the information correct. And this is an older one, so they haven't updated it yet. But like 2875 I have, the 24 to 120 I have, the 24 to 200 I have the 40 millimeter, I have the 105 millimeter. But they don't have all the lenses. They just show the lens that they used to work on it. Now, good ergonomics. These are good. They say no image stabilization. Well, it works pretty good. You can see when I turned mine on, it gave a crop. No built-in viewfinder, of course, right? So they have the different stuff that you can look at. If I go back here to where I've had it, let's do the Z30 versus the Z50. If you look at the 5 main differences, all right, viewfinder. Okay, that's one. LCD screen. Z50 is just a tilt screen. And it tips downward. So if you have a tripod underneath, you can't view it. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to get rid of the ads. Limitation, yes, 30 minutes. Z30 does not have the design. Well, Z50 has an EVF. Z30 doesn't. But it has the new autofocus system. I think, yeah, they're just CMOS sensors. They're not BSI. And as you can see, the EVF, but the dials are almost the same. So you have the ISO, the aperture compensation, the record for the video. It's over here instead of reaching over there. The dials are basically the same. So your front dial is right up here. Your back dial is right there. If you look at the back, it's just minor differences, but on the Z50, you can see the magnification, demagnification, the question mark, whatever. The display is on the LCD screen. And this is just a tilt screen. They have it on the camera right here. So the play, the trash can is over here on the Z30 instead of on the lower right like on most cameras. Then the eye is here, whereas the eye is up here. And if you look at the price, $850 or $1,000 for the kit. If you look over here at $700. So it's cheaper for the Z30. And as what I like is the fully articulated screen, LCD screen. And the newer autofocusing. I wish the Z50 had that, but I wish it, I love the EVF. So if the Z30 with all the insides were on the new Z50, let's say Mark II, with the articulating screen, it'd be a camera that I would buy. I like the way it handles. It's a great APS-C camera. Like holding it with the on the let's just get out of that. The reason why I'm ranting a little bit is because I've been recording for 38 minutes and the Z30 hasn't crashed yet. So I think temperature does make a difference. I think, and oh, by the way, I have it in manual mode, but it's in the movie mode also. So I can change the aperture and the shutter speed. And you're limited with the screen forward, but what I did notice, that since it's plugged in with the HDMI cable, I can see the volume settings on here. So I see all the settings that when I press the LCD screen all the way back, I can see it. When I bring it forth, you don't see all that. Now I can see everything on this camera. And it's a clean HDMI out. But I can see the volume on the camera. I can see it's at 20, which is the highest. I see that it's on fine, 4K. I can also do this. Move me center. How's that? And see, it's in manual mode. I can look at the battery. It's 100% because it's charged. I will say one thing about the Nikon batteries. When you use dummy batteries, they do not lose any charge. They stay at 100% all the time. On the Sonys and on the Canon, you see a depletion from the dummy batteries. I don't see any. I've never seen any on the Z5, the Z6 II, the Z7 II, or the Z30 or the ZFCs. So, got my point and shoot camera back. I can put a little tripod on here if I need to. It's great for selfies also. So I'd rather have this for a selfie than the Z30. I know that's for content creator, but I'd rather have this in the studio. I wish the ZV-10 would work, but I have the other ZFC. That's why I bought that. I first bought that because I wanted a camera to go vlogging with and to shoot. This is the perfect camera to do it. I love it. You mess with the dials. You can have it on automatic. It's retro. People look at you. You just bring right lens with you. So I usually bring the 105 macro. I'll bring the 20 and 24 and the 24 to 120. But I also have a 28 to 75 2.8. They all work. I just put it all in a bag, take it with me, and I go out shooting on a subject. So I'm ranting here. I should just do a live stream and do the same thing that I'm talking about. But then it would be in 1080p. And I'm debating if I should stick with Spectrum or pay the extra money to go up. And if I do a calculator real quick, where's my phone? Set that down. Do a little calculator. Let's see, 350 divided by 8. Yeah, 43 megabytes down. I would like to have the same up, but I only have like 11 to 12 megabytes up. I've gotten 13 before, but that's still not enough for 4K streaming with Ecamm. They say that you need at least 15, and I'm not making it right there. So I would have to pay extra money to Spectrum to enable that. But 1080p is good, and majority of people either look at it on their cell phones or tablets, or on the PCs. TVs, well, on my setup I got a 4K TV and a 5K monitor, which I run the Ecamm on. And on the 4K TV, I show with the other camera the view. Now I can do a share, and if I do a share, this is what it looks like. So if I okay, go back here. There we go. And of course I can zoom on this, but I'm not going to. So anyhow, you can see where it's still off angle, but I can fix that too by just doing that. So I'll go back to the ZFC. So you see the stuttering, and I'll go to the Z30. So this is all the way magnification, 16 millimeter. This is my ZFC, almost all the way. There it is. And this is 28 millimeter. So which one do you think looks sharper? 16 millimeter. And I can move closer. So you can see the pores a lot better. Little hairs, little red marks. That's the spots, age spots and stuff. Okay, that's on a Sigma lens. If I go here, you can see some, but I'm smoothing it out in the settings on the Nikon, so you don't see much of it. But you can see different stuff. I can put my Nikon Z7 II with the 85 millimeter, and that lens is awesome. Even the 105 macro, it's awesome. It'll show your pores, any hairs that you missed, your age spots right here. So I see, and then if I go back to the Z30 with the Sigma, you don't see it as much because it's farther view. But if I go to the right, so you can see the age spots right there. Different lenses, different type of focal lengths. Camera's working good. So Chuck from AVP Studios is looking good if you keep the room cool. But if you live in Texas, the bills are high. If I lived up north, like in Canada, I would never have an overheating problem. But anyway, here I am at 48 minutes. I could have live streamed. Everything's looking great. And let's see, run scene. I have no idea what run scene means. So anyway, I just unclicked it. And if I go to the share, doggy bed, or that. Now watch. If I go to share, Okay, so you see, it's zoomed. And I can't unzoom it because it's at 0. That's why I had the VR off. And if I go back to the menu, so you see the image stabilization mode. Now I like this auto level mode, enable, so it straightens everything up. So I'll turn this off. And I'll turn this off. And there you go. Now you see the whole screen. And it's still crooked. And if I push it a little bit forward, that's about good enough. So that looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is just increase it a little bit. There we go. You still see everything. Yeah, see, now you can see the bottom. See, now it disappeared. Right. Oh, I see what I did. I gotta do this. Okay. And if I do this, let's see if I can bring it up. There we go. I should have done that in the first place. Oh boy. Always making mistakes. I can bring this back down to, well, it is at 0. Yeah. So I can move the camera again. Perfect. Can't beat it. Got it perfect. I'll be darned. I'll put that like that. That's good enough. Wow. 1/20th shutter speed at f1.8. That looks pretty good. Now I can show things on the internet. Okay. Close the door. Outstanding. And I've been recording almost an hour. The Z30 is going strong. ZFC, all the other cameras, they haven't shut down. I don't know about the Z50. Let's look at the... No, that's going strong too. So, if your room is cold enough, so it's up to 19 degrees Celsius, which is probably about 70. So if I go back to the camera, okay, 19. Oh, Celsius to Fahrenheit. That's what I meant to do. And I'll put 19. It's 66 degrees in the room. That's good. And I got the heat off because I like it at this temperature. So it's doing good. Wow. And then if I go to share, that tripod on there. I might use the lower tripod. I'll bring it down to the level of this one right here. Sorry about that. Hit the mic. Which isn't bad. So, like Peter Gregg, he likes it about a little bit higher than your eyes, you know, in the camera point. With the Z30 tripod, you can't do that. It's lower, it's level, so you can't tilt it. It has no ball head on it. But It's excellent. And any heat generated on the bottom of the camera is transferred to that tripod. So it keeps it cooler. That's one thing I've noticed. If I go to this one where the Manfrotto is, yes, you have a height adjustment, but I can put another tripod on there and I'll bring it lower. So the reason why you want a camera above your eyes facing down is so that if it's level or underneath your nose, if you miss any nose hairs, they're going to see it. Same thing with the teeth. If you don't brush it before you do a video, or you're eating something while you're talking, they can see the crud on your teeth if you have a sharp lens. It just different ways. This is much better than a webcam. So I can go to my .1080p webcam. Alright, so you see a lot of noise, right? And let me put this up. Oh, what I like about these, you know, the USB-Cs, even with the HDMI, you get these right angles. So on the HDMI, if your LCD screen is like this, it doesn't cover the whole window. You don't see a cord around it, and you have to go like on your LCD. So this blocks less on your camera. So you can get the right angles going down, or you know, you can point it up on your HDMI also, and it makes all the difference in the world. So let me just plug this back in here to my stand anchor or bracketing. I'll leave it like that. So it's looking good. This is the 1080p. So if you're broadcasting, and if I turn on the light, let me turn on the light. Okay. You see less noise. Okay. But still, this is 1080p. And then, of course, if I go to camera 1, and I'll bring it back to 0, kind of match the, the webcam. It's much better resolution, better dynamic coloring. I mean, I can put up the brightness, you know, to match it, but you don't want to look at that. I mean, some people like the brightness. I can brighten it up like it. 25. Okay, so I brighten that camera. Go to the next one. And also by brightening it, see, this one I had at 5. I did 25 also. It would be too bright. So see, you see more reflection. I mean, some people might like that better. I like the dynamic range, you know, so individuals a little bit darker. I like that. So I can bring this down to, let's say, 10. And it almost matches the other one. So you see, no brightness, it looks good. Still no dogs. There's the TV, so I got it perfect. Almost. And you notice I can't win because right on the bottom of the left corner, it's kind of up. So I may have to move the camera again. I mean, I could hide it just by going like that. You really can't tell the difference unless I put this up there, but you can still see that it angles toward the right, especially in the customized chrome. And if I put this back to 0, you can see part of the shades, it going down. Not too bad. It's just work in progress. So, I've been recording 1 hour, 10 minutes. Everything looks good. So it looks like we have a winner. Z30 doing good. Now I know what to do with my next video. So this is just me ranting about my studio setup, you know, with the Z30. And you know what? I am going to put on that other tripod. As if I don't break anything. All right. Okay. And I got the zoom up. Okay, what happened? Oh, probably. Okay, let's go different camera. That's good. I had something, folks. What I'm going to do is turn it off. The camera's too hot. So it failed. Why did it fail? Because I hit something while changing. Okay. There we go. So, I don't think it's too hot. I just hit some focusing problems, whatever. So this is the Manfrotto desktop tripod. It was designed in Italy, and it's called the MT Pixie-B. And it's the serial number is RAF. Well, you don't need the serial number. But it's the, I think the Mini Pixie or Mini Tripod Pixie B. Love these. Very sturdy. Love the ball head. But now, it's not as hot. And the Z30 is going again. So it's at 1/6 of the shutter speed, manual mode, movie mode, f1.4. I only turned it off twice because messed up the settings. But I see everything on the LCD screen. It's looking sharp. How do I look? Pretty good. 16 millimeter. And of course I can center myself. I think we have a winner, folks. Almost record, yeah, 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's doing great. So I learned something. With this video, I can show that now I can see everything if the HDMI cable is hooked up. Whereas before, I thought, and I just want to show, I'm trying to see if it, yeah, you can barely see the little writings on the LCD screen. I hit the shutter button. Yeah, it has a problem with reflections. Okay. Not a good idea. Best way is just to do it this way. Put it there. Yeah. It's the cable, that's why. Okay. And this is at 1/30th. Let's see if I can change it. Okay. One thing I did notice. Alright. Autofocus. Yep. Doing good. Selected people. Let's move this. Yep. There's my wife. There's pictures. Okay. And it's not in manual mode. It's in auto. No, it is in manual mode. Okay. Menu. Yeah, the VR is on. Okay. Yeah. 28 millimeter. Looks good. This is the black version. I turn this off. And we move this. Turn this off. Move this. Turn that back on. Okay. So now I got the retro. Doesn't that look cool? This camera looks cool. I turn a lot of heads when I carry this camera around. I love it. Vlogging. Perfect camera. And then I'll go to the main one. Okay. Same 28 millimeter. Only this one has a stripe on it. And I have the 28 millimeter on the Z30. And reason why I want to go here is I got one of my favorite animals here, Wanda. She wants to see what I'm doing. Isn't that cute? Trying to get comfortable. I'm waiting to see if Buddy shows up. So So there she is, just at the edge of the pillow, listening to me. Looks pretty good, right? Z50 with the 28 millimeter. And you notice there was no stuttering. So I think also, the reason why these stutter is they may be hooked up to USB 3 or through the monitor, which you're going from computer to monitor to camera. Or you go through a USB hub to the camera, from computer USB hub. So all that slows down the speed too. But this camera's doing good. This camera's doing good. I just may have to either touch the shutter speed or just turn it off and then let it go again. So it's not overheating. And it's only 19.1, so it's getting warmer. Still about, what, 66 degrees in here? If I go here to Celsius, 19.1. Yep, 66.38 degrees, folks. That's not bad. And 2 hours. Just recording for 2 hours. So I'll probably end the video here. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Please hit that, well, notifications are automatic. You can do personalized or no notifications at all. But thank you for watching. Me ranting for an hour. Working out different things with the camera. And hope you enjoyed it. So this is kind of like a testing before I do a live stream. I'm using different cameras, making sure everything is set up. The only problem I've been having is I can turn off eCam, turn it right back on, and my cameras are reset to different cam links. So to make things simple is I just name it cam link 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when I turn on eCam, then I figure out which camera is doing which, and then leave it at that. The one thing I haven't shown you is I have rotating cameras. So this will go for 15 seconds right here. And then it goes to the TV, which I don't want. So I'll go to this one right here. Okay. Which is 4K. Now I want to go into this camera. There we go. That's what I want. Now I'm going to add a camera. And I'm going to call it Puppy Cam. So I'm going to do Puppy Cam. I'm going to select a camera. I can zoom and pan. Her nose is on the floor, so she's out cold. And then I'm going to put a little timer on here. So I'll go here, timer. I'll put on 15 seconds. And then go to the next scene, add. And then I can move this It's right about here. That's all I have to do. Lock it, and it's set. So you see the timer on the upper right. So countdown. And this is the with the Sigma 16. And I can zoom it. First I gotta lock it. Zoom. And I'll go back to it. There we go. And I can move me right there. And it automatically goes to Wanda. So I'll bring that back to 0. So that looks pretty good. And then there I am. And I can put this back here too. So this is ZFC. Z30 with Sony E mount lens, Sigma 16mm f1.4. Here's the Z50 with a 28mm. ZFC with the 28mm. They just came out with the 40mm retro, so I might get that. I like the 40mm. It gives you a 60mm equivalent, which is excellent. It's kind of like in between. A lot of people like the 50mm. They like the 35mm. But the 60, you know, it's kind of like you know, between the 85 and the 50. If you can get like a 70, I think that's where the lens needs to be. Either 70 or 65. So you would get like 42. But anyway, got my camera back, so I'll do some shooting. And hope you like this video. It's about the Z30, my studio, seeing if it overheats. Been playing with the R7, you know, on the monitor. So it's a learning process. I got all the lights on, so do I look better now? Good lighting is always important. I can now go to my, what's it, the last one. So now you can see the ZB-10 in all its glory. And I can reset all the coloring, so it still is kind of dark, even with the lights. Okay? But I can put up the brightness. I can put up the temperature a little bit. Saturation, I can put up a little bit, and the gamma, and that's too bright, too dark, so I just leave it at like right there. So now I can show things, and I can zoom it also, bring it up closer, and you can see it's in focus now. So anyhow, this is my studio. This is one of them, all right? So this is the M1 Max Studio, the basic model, 512K SSD with 32 gigs of RAM. Excellent. On my Mac Mini, I have 64 gigs of RAM. It's an i5 8400, 6-core processor, Intel. But I have 4 cameras hooked up to it. So I have the Z5. I have the Z6 II, the Z7 II, and the R10. Yes, even the R10. And they're hooked up with HDMI cable. So anyhow, this has been over 2 hours long. It's doing great. I got my setup going good. Thank you for watching again. As always, stay safe, keep smiling. Until next time, goodbye.